All right. Just watched a video by Siraj. Um, Man, it's an amazing guy. He just talked about AI in China. So I'd like to make some commentary on this, um, mostly because I am Canadian right now, uh, but my background is Chinese, and my parents um, don't speak any English, so they are still very rooted in the Chinese way of thinking. Whereas I have been a lot more westernized. And in Suraj's video, Suraj talked about um, how China uses AI to exploit people, censor people, create autonomous weapons. So I'm assuming this is referring to the censorship, so like the firewall blocking Google and YouTube. But I guess because a government has centralized control, so it could empower people and create new jobs. So it seems like that the government is has a very centralized planning system as opposed to um, Canada and U.S., where we have a more autonomy, where the government is merely a platform provider, providing a neutral marketplace for people to excel. So it's a very two different approaches. So I just want to see some comments and see what people's feedbacks are in this. So we can see that some people say that WeChat like is WhatsApp on steroids. I haven't used WeChat before, so I don't know. Uh, it's it's possible. I know my mom uses WeChat. Sometimes she's freaked out about how much WeChat knows about her. Um, yeah, so people definitely have some opinions on human rights and development of China. Hope they use AI to solve air pollution problems. Let's see if anyone has something meaningful. Uh, as a Chinese, I would like to say thank you, my dude, for such uprising and understanding comments. The world will be much nicer if there are people like you. Okay, cool. So it looks like nobody. Yeah, basically China's like a Black Mirror episode. Yeah, it is like that. One of my friends told me other places, for example, Iran has um, similar kind of policies where men are not allowed to hang out with women because you don't you can't yeah, like affairs is legal. You can't have affairs, and no nightclubs. Let's see what this guy says. Who replied to this guy? So apparently, there's a person of interest, uh, and people are also complaining that USA have something similar for NSA. So apparently, something is similar happening to USA, but I guess in the states, the degree of which that is happening is much less. But a lot of these comments are just they're not really related to AI um, as much as about human rights. Okay, so this guy seems to have something legit to say. Siraj, next time please check the authenticity of your information. Some of them, like social scores or controlling people, might be a little absurd to normal Chinese people. Just don't believe anything the Western media says. Part of them are true, part of them are intentionally wrong. I suggest you just leave the politics alone. Uh, that's true. I remember when I was a kid in China, I don't remember any of this stuff. Everything seems kind of the same. I guess the normal people just don't really care about it. So, I mean, if you live in China, you probably wouldn't notice this kind of stuff too, because um, life is pretty good there. if you're Chinese and you're familiar with that environment. Okay, I don't see anything that specifically talks about AI. People talk about anime where they have a similar kind of system where so it seems like the argument comes down to having a centralized government that controls everything and the government that decides on the advance of technology and where technology should be going. In this case, AI, where AI should be going. And then the government takes advantage of this development technology to make the government itself more advanced so that they can exert more power and more direction on where technology is going. Whereas what we believe in the Western world is AI is a great power. With great power comes great responsibility. And that's why with something like AI, we should allow everyday people to be able to use it. We should spread out this technology as much as possible so everybody has access to it. So that's a completely different approach than the Chinese government, which is more centralized power and decentralized power. I just wanted to bring up a point. So maybe this is relevant, maybe it's not, but I believe in the 80s or possibly the 90s, the Japanese government wanted to control the economy and direct where technology is going. And that ended in failure because the states discovered internet, because the states in the Western world has a free market and they allow different people to explore different things, so that we created internet. So that's something that's completely unplanned. Whereas the Japanese government wanted to focus on TV screen technology, and then that didn't pan out. So like Japan lost to America in terms of technical leadership because of that. And I'm seeing this kind of narrative playing out again with China having a centralized control on AI and the government directing where the technology should be going, as opposed to United States and the Western world. We just provide the opportunity and to let people decide where they want to go themselves. So I'm leaning towards the Western side. I think we have the evidence that letting people exploring what they want is going to create a better result than government directing, because the main reason is because you don't know what's going to happen next, and you can't create something better if you don't look at everybody's opinions. And I think regardless of how much the centralized government knows about AI, it's unlikely that they're going to find the best solution. With that said, it's difficult to predict in this case because China just has so many people. So it's unclear whether they will come on top with their AI development. But we will see. We will see. And these are my comments for this video. Very interesting.